Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I've finally gotten around to doing both a full face drugstore makeup tutorial, my spotlight eye, which was really highly requested from my Instagram, using the Sophdoesnails times Makeup Revolution palette, and also it's kind of a hooded eyes tutorial in terms of how to make you look like you have more lid space. So I really hope you enjoy this video, and without any more faff, let's just jump into it. So I'm starting off with my eyebrows on. I have put on the Collection brow pomade and then used the L'Oreal Brow Artist Plumper in my brows, and I've primed my eyelids using the Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer and set that with face powder. So let's just move straight on to eyeshadow, and we always do skin last, or I always do skin last. So I've been highly requested to do a tutorial using the Sophdoesnails palette. It's a look that I posted on my Instagram and I keep getting requests for it, so I'm going to use this palette today. And yeah, let's just jump into it. So I'm going to take a big fluffy brush and I'm going to use this shade here, which is Cup of Tea, and it's just a lovely transition shade, and I'm going to start popping that through my crease. You can make this colour as pigmented as you want, you just need to keep applying layers of it. It's just a lovely colour. Every time I use this palette I'm just amazed by how good the quality is of these shadows and how well they blend and how pigmented they are. So I've packed that on in kind of an arc shape around my eye, completely above my crease as well, from the outer corner to the inner corner. And then I'm just going to go in with this shade here, Pancakes. We're just going to take that out. This shade, Pancakes, and I'm just going to go around the edges of what I did just to make sure it's super blended into my eye area. The face powder that I put down first. When you have hooded eyes, it's a really good idea to kind of look down into a mirror, so kind of like when you're applying your false lashes. So I look down into a mirror and I've got my eye open so I can see that my crease is here and I need to put the colour all above my crease. Now I'm going to dip into the shade Danger, and I'm going to use a slightly smaller fluffy brush. Is that the shade I want to use? Yeah. So we'll stick with that, Danger. And I mix it a little bit with Cup of Tea on my brush, and then I'm just going to start popping that more into the crease. So if I've got my eyes slightly open, I can feel where my crease is, and that's where I'm tucking my brush in, and I'm just doing like little circular motions and also windshield wiper motions. I actually think this step you'll probably be able to skip because I'm going to use a much darker shade that's going to hide it. But let's just finish what we started. Alright, now I'm going to take the Morphe 321, which is this tiny little brush, and I'm going to dip into the shade, what are you called? Mug Cake and Rosewood. I'm just kind of mixing them on my brush, and then I'm going to look into a mirror, so it's just in front of me, and with my eye completely open, as like looking kind of straight on, I'm gonna place my brush and start placing those two dark browns right above my crease. I'm just placing those down inner corner to outer corner with my eye open. And obviously it looks terrible right now, but it will look good. So now with my eyes fully open, you can see that brown shade right above my crease. And now we can start to blend it to make ourselves actually look not insane. So to start blending it, I'm going to dip into, that's wrong, Peaches and a bit of Mug Cake, and just kind of blend them together on my brush. So I'm just using like windshield wiper motions and kind of little circles as well, and I'm just going to make sure that this is nice and blended. And it helps to go in with your original brush as well, just your like original transition shade, and just go around the edges as well for some seamlessness. I'm just going to keep blending both of my eyes, and then we'll come back and start to do the spotlight part of the eye. So I've gone ahead and completely blown out my crease colour, so it's now nice and blended. I hope you agree. It'd be quite embarrassing if you think it looks terrible. So what I'm going to do now is put down a creamy base for the green shade, which is called Pine Tree, to really stick onto, and so it just really pops with colour. I hate that word. And I'm going to use the Maybelline Colour Tattoo, and this is in the shade Turquoise Forever. And it's not the perfect match for that green, but it's got a nice undertone, and I could probably use just a concealer to do this, but I just quite like this option. So I'm just going to start by putting it all over my eyelid. By the way, these Maybelline paint pots are phenomenal. And I'm going to take that into my crease, start doing like a rounded shape. So you can see I've taken that well above my crease. So that is how we look just now, not the best. And then I'm going to get the shade Pine Tree, which is this fabulous green, and I'm going to start packing it on top of that blue. Colour is so beautiful. Because I'm really packing it on, there's definitely going to be fallout, but we're not worried about that because we've not done our base yet. So that is the green shade completely put down over on top of that blue. So now what we're going to do is start working on blending all the edges and making it more of a spotlight eye. So this is always the point I get quite nervous doing for some reason. I've dipped back into that shade Mug Cake on a fluffy brush, and I'm going to start going around the edges. And do you see how bringing this really deep shade up so high is making it look like that's where our actual crease is? And then to make it even more of a spotlight, I'm dipping back into Mug Cake and Rosewood on a teeny tiny little brush. And I'm going to pack that onto the outer corner. And also the inner corner. And I'm going to keep blending, always blending. I'm then dipping into the shade Nightmare, which is the black, and just putting a touch on the inner and outer corners. Just keep increasing the depth, and then that's how we're going to get that really cool gradient look across the eye. Blend. I'm going to take more of the shade Pine Tree on a brush and just make sure it's completely green where I want it to be green, because when we go in with a lot of dark brown blending shades, it can kind of cover over the green, and we don't want that. So I'm just going to add a bit more just to make sure we've got that nice colour, green colour. I want to make it even more bright in the centre so that the darker corners on the outside and then the bright centre kind of really contrast. So I'm going to go in with this shade here, which is called Fairy Lights. I'm going to pop that all the way down the centre. Just lightly. I don't want like a white streak down the centre, I just want it to look like I've maybe got two different shades of green. And I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll just go off camera and do this eye, and I'll throw on some lashes, and then we'll be back. Alright, so I've finally put my lashes on. It takes me ages. I know to you it probably looks like I've been away for about 10 seconds or less. But now we can finally move on to skin, and this is where the whole thing's going to start to look better. So you probably know that I don't really use primer, but I am going to moisturise my skin, and I'm going to use the Soap & Glory Speed Plump Moisturiser. Oh, and the lashes I put on are the Pinky Goat lashes in the style Nura or Nora, or however that's pronounced. You can pick those up in Superdrug, and they are definitely my favourite drugstore lashes right now. They're really sturdy. I've probably used that pair about 15 times already now, and they're still perfectly fine. And for foundation today, I'm going to go in with my L'Oreal Infallible, and this is in the shade 10. It's ever so slightly too light for me, so I'm just going to mix it with a deeper shade of the Maybelline Fit Me in 130, and just put a few dots of that on just so that it deepens it up a bit. Probably too much, but yeah, I've just dotted a little bit of that on from the tube just so that I get a nice slightly deeper shade. And then I'm gonna mix in my Barium liquid chrome highlighter drops. I think I've mentioned in a previous video that these are a really good dupe of the iconic London drops in the shade Shine, and they probably dupe the other shades too, but this is the only one I've got. So I'm just going to pop that on just in a few different areas. And then I initially like to use a foundation brush just to make sure everything blends together before I'll use my Real Techniques sponge. And that's how we'll make sure it's really flawless. So for concealer, I'm going to use my Collection Lasting Perfection. Everyone knows it and loves it. I'm going to use the shade 1 and the shade Lemon and mix them under my eyes. And then on any blemishes, any and all blemishes that I have. That's way too bright to use on blemishes, but we'll fix it. And then this is the shade Lemon. I'm just going to pop a bit under, just for even more brightness. And then I'm going to go in with my Real Techniques sponge and just blend all of this out. And now that all my concealer's blended out, I'm just going to make sure all my foundation's really blended into my skin by using the sponge to just pat and pat and pat. Before I do any powdering, I'm going to do a bit of cream contouring, and I'm going to use the Collection Precision Contouring Pen, and I just want to show you how good this is and how well it blends. So I'm just going to do my cheekbones, around my jaw a little, under my lip, not my chin, and around my humongous forehead. And then I'm just taking a Real Techniques contour brush and I'm just going to start buffing this in. Do you see how easily this just blends into the skin? Now I'm going to do a little bit of baking under my eyes, and I'm going to use my RCMA translucent powder. It is technically drugstore in price, you just have to order it online. And I've decanted it into this empty pot, so I'm just going to pop that under my eyes. Just going to make sure there's no creases. That's about as much as I do, and I'm not going to leave it on that long. And then for the rest of my face, I'm going to go in with my Maybelline Matte Maker Powder. And this is a new one, so I need to open it. And I'm just going to use a big fluffy brush and start dabbing it all over. So the first thing I'm going to do now is powder contour, and I'm going to use my Makeup Revolution Powder Contour Kit. This one is in the fair shade, so I'm going to take a brush, of course, and I'm going to dip into these two shades and kind of mix them together. Slightly around my jaw, and of course on my ginormous forehead. Or 5 head. And I'm going to contour my nose using my favourite brush, and this is the Salazar Cosmetics brush. I'll link their shop down below. They're an Instagram brand, or I discovered them on Instagram, but this brush is phenomenal for doing your nose contour because it's one of those like thin brushes. So to fix this incredibly dark nose contour, I'm going to dip back into that Maybelline powder on my powder brush, and I'm going to just blend over it to just try and soften the lines. Very professional here on this channel. So to bronze my skin, I'm going to use my Soap & Glory Solar Powder Bronzer. I really, really love this one. And I'm just going to use a big fluffy brush. And I tend to like put it over where I've contoured to help blend it down the sides of my neck a little bit like here, without adding more to the brush. I feel like we're on the home stretch now. So for blush, I'm going to go in with my little Rimmel blush in the shade Santa Rose. And I'm going to pop this kind of towards the back of my cheek. Slightly draping it up beside the sides of my brows, temples, and a bit on the chin. Then on my actual cheekbones, I'm going to go in with the same brand, so the Rimmel little blushes. This is in Live Pink. I'm just going to tap off the excess. And then just put a touch on the cheekbone. Now for highlight, I'm going to go in with my MUA Undress Your Skin in Pink Shimmer. And I'm going to use that on a Morphe M501 brush. Let's quickly finish off our under eyes and then we can finish on lips. So I'm going to go in with the shade Cup of Tea first. That initial transition shade we used, I'm just going to pop that all the way under both eyes. Obviously both eyes. Then I'm going to go into the shade Mug Cake, and I'm going to mix that slightly with Danger and just pop that nearer to the outer corner. I'm trying to use the viewfinder as a mirror. And then on a tiny little brush, I'm going to go into Nightmare the black and just make sure my outer corner at the top is connected to my outer corner on the bottom. Then on the inner corner, I'm going to go in with the shade Fairy Lights again, this bright champagne. And then on the same brush, I'm going to mix these two shades here, which is Sparks Fly and Grow Old, and I'm going to pop them at the very beginning of my under eye because I really quite like a sparkly or metallic lower lash line. In my waterline, I'm going to go in with the Rimmel Nude pencil. Throw some mascara on, and I'm just going to use the Maybelline Lash Sensational. So for lips, I'm going to initially go in with the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink in the shade Loyalist, and it's not quite light enough, so I will lighten it up, but this is the first one that I'm going to put down just so I've got a nice base. So that is the shade Loyalist, and now I'm going to go in with Maybelline 981 Purely Nude, which is a matte lipstick, and it's very, very pale. And I'm going to just pat this on top and just make sure it's the kind of really kind of light nude that I like to wear. So I'm just going to go and do something with my hair, and then I'll be back and we will discuss the final look. So this is our final look. So I really hope you enjoyed this full face drugstore makeup tutorial. Sophdoesnails Science Makeup Revolution palette, spotlight eye, hooded eye tutorial, all the above. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Please also give me a thumbs up and tell me in the comments what you want to see next. Do you want to see more tutorials, or do you want more kind of hauls, or what do you want? Just tell me, let me know. I hit 1,300 subs, which was so exciting yesterday. Also come and follow my Instagram, it's Makemeupmissa. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.